Little update here on the shrimp tank. So today I went and I purchased a glass. I just cut it so it was fairly close to the intake, or sorry, the hang-on backs, and I just taped the edges of it with black electrical tape, put it around, and I put a wave maker in there. Now it doesn't run constant, it's just pulsing on the very lowest setting. As you see, there's not a whole lot of movement in the tank, just enough to blow the CO2 around. The solution is starting to turn green. It's been a while since I've been really trying to get this to turn green, so I've been adjusting my tank. I've got some algae growing, as you can see. So I started out with my aquarium light at 60, and that's where I'm at now at about 28. So I find the plants are happy at that setting. Now I'm gonna just have to work on getting rid of the algae in the tank. I think a lot of this blackbeard algae is dying, as you can see. And so I'm going to leave it at that setting and just pump the CO2 in it and see what happens. Now I'm a little worried about the wave maker. I tried a pantyhose over it and it was not working at all. So try the shrimp and see how that. I hope they don't go around it, but they usually, I never see them go to the top of the tank, so most of the time they stay right at the bottom, and they don't bother going up there. So usually the highest they get is the top of the plants and the sponge filters. So as you can see, there's one back there going. They don't really go up that high. So now I gotta take and do a water change. I think I'm gonna do it tonight. I'm going to take a brush in there and kind of clean off the algae on the rocks. And I'm gonna try to clean off some of the algae on the stump. And I'm going to try to clean off the algae on the coconut. And do probably a 10% water change and see what happens after that. So I had to cut the plant that was way up here. I cut it down. These ones are just about up there now. As you can see, I removed the plant that was back here by the diffuser. I put it in the 60-gallon tank. This plant here I took it out and put it in the 75-gallon tank, but as you can see, they got eaten up. The Bosemontes just will not leave it alone. They love eating it. So these plants here will be staying in the 30 and the 60-gallon. I gotta buy some more plants. I need some large Amazon swords for the 60 and 75. I'd like to get a bunch of different colorful plants put in here. This one here is really bushing out nice. Other than that, it seems to be doing pretty good. So tonight I'm going to do a water change on it. Probably, like I said, 10% right down to here. And fill it back up. Do it slowly. So there's not a really big change in temperature, but I just want to clean up a lot of this algae that's growing in the tank. I think a lot of that, it was just so much light. So this Will's aquarium light seems to be doing really good. Definitely way high powered for the 30-gallon tank. So they usually say power per gallon, and I would say that they're right on the money, because this is a 29-gallon and I had it set at 32, And now I got it knocked back to 38, and a lot of the algae and everything stopped. Or sorry, 28. A lot of the algae stopped in the tank. So the settings for 28 for this aquarium is perfect. Like I said, the shrimp don't seem to go up too high, so I'm hoping everything will be fine. I'm going to keep an eye on it. If I find that it's going to be a problem with the wave maker in there, I'll pull it out, or I'll just put a pair of panties on it and pantyhose and crank it up a little higher. But as you see, they don't go up that high. They stay right low. I want these guys to start having babies. That'd be awesome. But right now they seem to be doing really well. They like it in here. A lot of plants, a lot of food for them. They're doing really good in here. So anyways, guys, that's the update of the 30-gallon tank. The drop checker is just starting to turn green. Looks like it anyway. Nah, it's still a little blue. The CO2 just come on, so it's been on for probably an hour before the light just come on. So it's been on for an hour. Usually around, usually around probably 8 o'clock tonight, it starts to turn green. So I think I got my CO2 dialed in. 75, same thing. Lower the light on it. With the 24/7 light, you don't ever hear anybody talk about that. But the best way to run a 24/7 light is sunrise, start at the lowest you can, and then let it ramp up to the highest, which would be, I would only go 50 on this. This is 50 right now. It was 70, I turned it down, it was too much. And go 50, and have 4 or 5 hours of 50, and start ramping back down. That's the best way I find to run a 24-hour light, cycle light, because having this light up as high as possible for as long as it's on, it's just too much. It grows algae like crazy, you guys. So start at, I'll show you my settings that I have here really quick. Camera to focus. So, okay, so we're going to go to auto mode, and we're going to say set whites, and it's the same for the blue. So 0 dawn, 9 sunrise, 23 midday, 50 sunset, and you look at how long it's on sunset. So stay sunset, so pretty much 50. It hits max peak 50 to sunset, and that's 4 to 8, and then it starts going down from 8 to 14 at 11 o'clock, and it's at 14% lowest to night at 1 o'clock. So that's the way to set that up, you guys. You don't want to have intense light on this tank 24/7, and start low, work your way up to the setting that you want at the highest peak, in which sunset from the one before sunset, midday, would be 50, and it's usually 4 to 5 hours of that, 50%, and then it starts ramping down. So you only want about 4 or 5 hours of intense light, and then start ramping down. So your tank is only really getting true high power light of 50%, 4 or 5 hours, but it still gets light in the tank the rest of the day. So that's the way to set it up. Nobody talks about that on the internet, and I looked and looked and looked, and the only way I could find out how to do it was to experiment myself and find the basically the happy medium with this aquarium light. Injecting CO2, of course, once you get your tank established and balanced and you get all your plants in there and it's full of plants, you're going to probably have to up your light probably by 10% the most if you get a really good light. I'm pumping in about 3 bubbles per second in this aquarium. I'll show you that. Same for the 30 gallon, it's about 3 bubbles per second. I'm going to dial that back to 2 bubbles per second, but they're pretty much the same right now, and I am happy with the results of the 75 gallon staying where it is at 3 bubbles per second. This is going to be 2. So I had to play around with that for a while too. Oh yeah, and I had another issue with the diffusers I purchased. And the reason why this is 3 bubbles per second is because I never adjusted it yet. But this diffuser here that I had in the 30 gallon was holding back so bad that this was cranked up wide open, and then it was barely running, and there was so much pressure in the line, and there was nothing coming out of this diffuser. So this one here doesn't work very well. It doesn't work like the one on the 75. So I'm going to buy another one, the large, for the 75, and put the one that's in the 75 in the 30. So right now I have the Fluval drop checker, or sorry, the Fluval diffuser in the 30 gallon, and it's working fine. I don't like how it's set up, but you can see on the 75, that's the same one I just showed you. That's for a small tank. I didn't know when I purchased it, so I had a large one coming for this one, and that one's coming out and going over here. So, and this one don't seem to work too bad, but it's not mist like I like. So, mist is better. CO2 stays in the tank longer. So this one here is going to be set up soon as my splitter shows up. I'm going to set this up on CO2. And you can see I put a few plants in here already. We're going to see how they do. The light seems to be doing pretty good. I don't want to crank too intense. Light don't stay on this tank as long. I got some moss starting. I glued some moss in here, as you can see. But another castle coming. I'm going to put side by side, and I'm going to put some wood in there. So this one here is going to be CO2 eventually. Should be another couple of weeks. It should be all done. Just keep low light, less light on it as much as possible, and you know, until I get the CO2 going. I don't want no algae growing in the tank. The only place I really get any hard time with algae, and it's not algae, it's on the gloss. So other than that, the light seems to be doing pretty darn good. So that light there is a 40, I can't remember what it was, 47 watt or something like that. And the one in there is a 96 watt. And that one over there is 169 watt. And that's way too powerful a light for 30 gallons. So that's the 21-inch new long Wills aquarium light. And it's meant for marine and planted. So anyways, that's the quick update. This stuff here has been growing like crazy. I trimmed it down, replanted. I got new babies in here. They hide in that stuff, so it's the way it's going to stay for a little while. I got some more baby guppies, and they're doing pretty good. Their fins are looking good. So I feed them twice a day, all the fish twice a day. I got some duck bills coming for the outlets of the canisters. And I also have another wave maker coming for this tank that I'm going to sit in here. And I'll probably hook up the CO2 on this side so it blows it down through the tank. But all I want to put in this tank is just large Amazon swords, you know, some plants like that, a little bit of color. It's not going to be like 75. I'm 75. I'm aiming for beautiful color plants. So this one here is not going to be. It's going to be all green, pretty much. But all that stuff's going to be coming out eventually. So, anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. That's just a quick update. Don't want to ramble on too long. The mole lights are doing good. This is the 3248. That's the 4860. And that's the 21-inch. And I have another aquarium coming. That's going to be a surprise. I ain't going to talk about that right now. Thanks for watching.